From the 33 and a third Music Appreciation Center in Speakeasy, just north of Detroit, Michigan. It's the 14th episode of the Infectious Groove podcast. I myself am sitting here in the 33 and a third. Michelle and Kyle are joining the show from just about a half mile away in the same neighborhood.
7 miles away.
Yeah, about half mile. How you guys doing?
We're great.
Good. Still kicking.
Oh, yeah, still kicking.
And not each other.
Yeah, and both still alive at this point. Netflix documentary doesn't have its final episode just yet.
No.
So, well, you know, on behalf
it's anybody's game.
Yeah, on behalf of the listeners, I certainly hope that going forward, you both make it out of this alive. And by the way, we're not talking about the overall health concern. We're talking about you two becoming violent with each other for being quarantined.
She has yet to try to feed me to her tiger, so I'm okay at this point.
All right. Well, she's got that idea, though. Be careful. Sleep with one eye open.
The day is young.
Right. Yeah. Oh, wow. It could be that soon. Holy cow. All right. So as far as this episode goes, the main topic that we're going to be talking about is album cover art and how it's been censored through the years. Maybe talk about some of the examples, the hows and whys and whatnot. So it should be a pretty interesting and fun episode, if nothing else. As always, we want to stop off at the beginning and thank everybody for taking time to listen to us. Hopefully we're helping you get through everything that's going on, giving you something to take your mind off of things. My one ask of the listeners this week, if at all possible, if you're listening to the show and you're enjoying these episodes and you're liking what you're hearing, please give us some shares on social media, and not so much like sharing posts of ours or retweets from either Facebook or Twitter. But if you would, if you're enjoying the show, please just give us kind of a promotion on your page, maybe for your friends to see. Hey, everybody, you should listen to this. I'm attacking Twitter as hard as I can, but I'm sure the people that follow us already on Twitter, that kind of probably gets annoying to see those tweets go by all the time. So if you're so inclined, I would appreciate it if anybody could give us a hand with that. Having said that, let's get right into our normal segments that we have planned for everybody.
Music news.
Kyle, you're up first with music news. What's going on?
Well, as many of you know, today is Record Store Day.
No, it's
supposed
not.
to be Record Store Day.
It was supposed to be.
Damn it. Wait, it was originally today, wasn't it?
Yes. Yes, I'm sorry.
That's what I was trying to say.
No, yeah, I was joking. I'm sorry. It absolutely was supposed to be today, yes.
Okay, got me all fucked up here. Okay. Well, as you all know, the Record Store Day was supposed to be today. It has been moved to June 20th, much like everything else going on right now. It's been postponed. So
yeah, so it's still happening. I'll still get my Black Crowes record. Hopefully everybody can sleep at night knowing that. There was like 2 or 3 things that I want pretty badly this year. It's actually a small list for me. Usually I come out of Record Store Day with, at least 10 or so titles, but I am very much looking forward to it. So although I'm sad that it didn't happen today, I'm glad to know that it's coming here soon. What else is going
on? There is a Grammy tribute to Prince that was taped back in February. It airs this coming Tuesday, the 21st.
That should be pretty sweet. I haven't even seen... go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to mention that it's been 4 years since he passed away. Well, that date will be 4 years since he passed away, so...
Yeah, which is crazy. Like, sometimes it's still hard for me to believe that Prince isn't here, let alone that he hasn't been for 4 years now. I haven't looked into yet who's all performing on that special, but I would assume there's going to be a lot of the usual suspects, and then there'll be a lot of people that want to pay tribute to Prince, so that should be fun. At least, make the best of a sad day for sure.
Yeah, what's crazy about that is he came on Michelle's playlist in the car today, and I was like, in my head, I was like, man, I can't believe that he's like not around anymore. Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
Just crazy to me.
Hey, I have a question. Speaking of that, so did he have a new album come out? Because it came in my release radar on Spotify, the Live at Aladdin.
No, and that's something that got pushed back too. There were some reissues that were supposed to come out yesterday, so we're recording this on Saturday, so it should have come out on the 17th. One of which was a live, the One Night Alone live album, the Rainbow Children album, which I'm desperately waiting for that to get reissued on vinyl. And then Live at Aladdin is a DVD, though. I don't know if it was on Spotify.
Yeah, under my release radar, which comes out on Fridays, it says Pop Life Live at the Aladdin, Las Vegas, 12/15/02. And then it says that it's from the Live at the Aladdin Las Vegas sampler.
Huh. Well, that's crazy. I have that DVD, like the original version of the Live at Aladdin DVD. There's a smoking version of Led Zeppelin's Whole Lotta Love on there that Prince does. And then obviously it's a great set because it's Prince in the first place. But I didn't know they were doing any audio from that. So that's cool. But yeah, those, since you reminded me of that, those Prince releases are now scheduled for the last Friday in May. So that's another one. I've been dying to get that record, the Rainbow Children. on vinyl, so I'm dying for that to come out. So we got those two things. Kyle, was there anything else?
Only that there's still a ton of live streaming shows from artists of all genres going on the internet.
Yeah, there
Some
sure
huge
is.
ones are taking place. I know that there's a few artists that have organized like gigantic with a bunch of different people performing all at one time, or one after another.
Yeah, Lady Gaga organized that one that's happening. It's actually happening like right now as we're recording this, so I'm going to catch it tomorrow on like YouTube or whatever. But everybody in the world is performing on that, so.
I know that there's actually a whole channel on YouTube now. What is it? I can't remember the name of it.
We can circle back to it later if you find it, or
Yeah.
just save it for next week's news to give everybody a heads up as to where to go.
I think it's called At Home Together, possibly.
Oh, that sounds about right. Cool. Is that all you got for news?
That is all I have.
Right on. All
Very
right.
Uneventful.
We'll move on to the most celebrated segment in the history of podcasting. Our jammies. That's right. Michael Jackson has given us the word to share our jams with everyone, and we fully intend to. For me, it's been another singular artist week for me. I've just been digging right back into Alice in Chains again, and they're not a band I missed out on by any means. I've seen them live. I saw them live with Lane and whatnot, but every so often I just dig back into that into their catalog again. And some of my favorite songs by Alice in Chains, I think some of these were singles, but they weren't like really big, but they're some of my favorites. Like I'm huge into the song Over Now and Got Me Wrong. I knew Got Me Wrong was a big hit, but one of my favorite Alice in Chains songs is called Grind, and it's like really showcases the harmonies that they're known for, and some of the heavier rock that they were known for earlier is on that record, which is really cool for me. So that's what I've been listening to. Michelle, I'm gonna rub a rabbit's foot and cross my fingers and hope you've got some jammy jams for us. Where are you at?
I do have some jammy jams. Shockingly enough, I listened to Carole King this week, which, if everyone listened to the bonus episode, you'll know that we put Carole King's Tapestry against Aerosmith's Get a Grip. So I listened to both those albums. I did like Carole King more. So that was a jam.
Oh man, I was just going to say, don't give away the ending, but I
you just cut that out.
But you did enjoy Tapestry a great deal, correct?
I did. And then Kaleo, however you might want to pronounce that name, had a new single come out on Friday from their record. It's called Backbone, which is it's like the third or fourth track that they've released from the new record, and it's just as big of a jam as the other ones. And then Kelly Clarkson had a new single with I Dare You.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was released as a single. Like I subscribe to her on YouTube, so every day like clips from the show come up and whatever, and they usually, when they were doing the show in the studio, she would do a different cover every day, so that always comes up. And then there was a video posted for that track I Dare You, and so I didn't even know it was released as a single until you shared it in our Facebook group, and I was like, oh, well, that's pleasant. That's a great song.
What's interesting on Spotify, it's listed as multi-language duets, and it's like a 6-track disc, and each track has it's the same song, but it's got a different person on it, and I'm assuming it's in a different language.
And the one that was posted on YouTube, everybody takes a verse in a different language, and they like showed it. They all sang their parts through like Zoom. So yeah, if you get a chance, check it out because it's a cool video. I mean,
I only listened to the one,
Yeah.
but I dug it. Not as much as her last record, but I still liked the single a lot. So I'm excited to see if she's got any more new music coming out.
Yeah, she hinted late last year that new music was coming sooner than we thought, which is cool because if she keeps on the path that she started on with Meaning of Life, then hip hooray, because I think Meaning of Life is by a long shot her best album. So if she keeps down that path, I would love that. So the Kelly Clarkson and the Carole King. What else were you listening to? Was that it?
Kaleo.
Kaleo, yeah.
Yeah, those are my 3 jams this week.
The Kaleo, I keep
Carole
forgetting
King.
because I'm doing that thing. I told you I'm doing that thing where I'm trying to avoid too many songs from albums. So I'm waiting for that album to come out.
Yeah, I think it comes out in June. Actually, just pre-ordered the vinyl.
Yeah, they're probably releasing it for my birthday, if I was to guess.
Probably, yep. That's a thing.
That and the lead singer will call me and tell me exactly how to pronounce it.
I think that is actually on the list of things for him to do.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, that's good to know.
Yeah, I think that's. It's June 5th actually, so it'll be a pre-birthday present.
Yeah, in time for me to listen to it for a week, so it can fully be my jam by my birthday. That's
and then hopefully we get to go see him again.
Yeah, when is our show supposed to take place?
That's something I should probably know too, right?
Yeah, no big deal. We can talk take that offline later. I just, we'll see what happens with concerts for the rest of the year. Kyle, you're on deck. You always have a bunch of jammy jams. What do you got for us this week?
Well, I happened upon I don't even know, an R&B singer, I guess, kind of. His moniker is RMR, but it's supposed to be pronounced Rumor. And he had a video that went viral, like on, I don't even know, on Facebook or something a while ago, where it caught a bunch of attention because he's dressed in like a ski mask, a bulletproof vest with a bunch of assault rifles and stuff, and he's singing a remixed version of a Rascal Flatts song.
Well,
yeah,
I guess
so, like,
that's the definition of don't judge a book by its cover. I guess that goes right along with the main topic. Internet. That's crazy.
It was floating all over the internet, and I fell into a rabbit hole again on YouTube, and he had just put out a new song recently, like within the last few days. So I went and watched that, and I was like, okay, and I was like, oh, that's the same guy who did that, weird remix of that Rascal Flatts song. And there's like very, very little information about this dude floating around, but like he always is wearing a ski mask. He makes these weird like artsy like videos to go to these like snippets of songs that he's putting out, and it just reminded me a lot of like how like The Weeknd first came out when no one really knew who he was.
Sure.
And, like, he was like this mysterious guy, and that's like the allure of what I like fell into with like The Weeknd, and it kind of reminded me of that.
So, do you, not to put you on the spot, but like, what do you know any of his background, like where he came from, or what, you know what I mean, like how long he's been doing this? Do you know any of that? It's not a big deal if you don't know. I'm just curious.
No, he literally has just seemed to like pop on the radar as of recent, and in that one video, because of the content of it, like went viral. But like as far as like what, I don't even know. I don't know what he looks like. Don't know anything because he's wearing a ski mask in every video that he has.
Well, that's cool. What was the name of the song? Was it the Rascal Flatts cover?
It is, but it's not the title of the song that he did. He changed the name of it.
Okay, but if people want to look into him, if they just search YouTube for RMR, it's probably going to come up because it's trending, like you said.
Oh yeah, it'll come up. He has 4 videos on YouTube total. 2 of them are snippets of other songs he's made. The other one is the new song that just came out, and the one that I was talking about originally is the other one that will pop up.
Right on. Cool. What else are you listening to?
I did end up listening to Johnny Craig's new album again. My brother had got a hold of me and was like, "Hey, have you heard that new Johnny Craig album?" I listened to it when it first came out, which was like a month or 2 ago, I think. And so I ended up re-listening to that whole thing again and ended up talking to him a bunch about it. And yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming that some people know who Johnny Craig is. They're listening to this. A lot of people probably don't. I'm not going to go into a bunch of stuff about him.
Quick description of his music if people want to look into him.
He's been in a bunch of like these emo pop bands like Dance Gavin Dance. There's a couple other ones. He's been kicked out of all of those bands.
Sounds like a great guy.
And now does solo stuff. I like his earlier solo stuff way better than his new stuff. But if you just Google Johnny Craig, you can figure out all of the nice drama and crazy stuff that surrounds him as a musician and a person.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. Is that your 2 big ones, or do you got more for us?
A little bit of like I always end up listening to like Drake or Eminem. It gets peppered into any kind of stuff that I'm listening to. So.
Gotcha. All right then. Cool. Those are our Jamie Jams. We will move over to our main topic, which we're going to be talking about album art and when it's been censored or changed for any reason, whether it's the record label or the retailers, or for whatever reason an album cover has been changed or censored. That's what we're going to be talking about. So my first question for you guys is, what do you think about it in general? Basically just, an album was supposed to have this cover and it got changed for whatever reason. Kyle, what do you think about it?
I think it's absolute bullshit. I do not think that a retail. I understand from a record label's point of view, their job is to put it out and to sell as many of something as possible. So it's in their best interest to make it as appealing as possible to everybody.
Right.
But in no way, shape, or form should a retailer dictate what is on a musician's CD.
Right. Yeah, and that's a big part of it too. A lot of these that get changed because of retailers. There's
Walmart and Kmart.
Yeah, for sure. Michelle, what do you think? Just in general terms, what do you think about, if an album art should be censored?
So I have a hard time with it. Like, I feel like I understand the artist is trying to portray a certain, vibe, if you will, and that's like what they feel like encompasses that. But then also they can't be mad if Walmart or Target or whatever is not going to have advertising of that album up. Like, you can't put some of these album arts, you cannot, like, when I picture them on an end cap, or they have like posters up or pop-ups, like the banners and stuff, like maybe not so much anymore, but at one point, like, you can't have that album art on there.
Right. So, and we do have examples that we're going to cover of that I think just probably shouldn't be in, full view. But.
Yeah. And like there's ways to get around it, like I bought a record at Record Store Day, which wasn't even vulgar, but it came in like a brown paper bag.
Right.
Like that was what it came in. So like, because there's no way to censor it from like young people if it's just on the shelf. Like you can't, they don't just have porn on the shelf. They have it in a plastic bag.
Right.
Not saying this is porn, but like.
To me, that's okay because like, so if you were to go to the liquor store and try to buy a Playboy, it's the Playboys are sitting behind a like plastic thing so where you can't see what's on the cover.
Right. Yeah. And we actually, we have one that we're going to talk about that is like a direct correlation with that. We'll get to it in a bit, but yeah, I thought of that too, Kyle. Like when you go into a 7-Eleven, if they have the adult magazines there's like the black barrier thing that covers most of it, except for maybe the header.
And that's fine because if I have my kid with me in 7-Eleven, I don't necessarily want him to see boobs on the cover of a magazine.
Sure.
At the same time, like 7-Eleven should never be able to say you have to change the cover and have her put a bathing suit on, or else we're not carrying that.
Sure. So
I don't think that they're saying that. I think that they're just saying this is not acceptable for us to put out into the general public. I feel like you can there's tons of stores that still carry porn in general, but it's in a section for 18 and older. Like, is that where this goes? Like,
right.
Even so for young children, like it is up to their parents to like filter what they see, like they're not going to, remove that black front from the porn magazines and be like, look at boobs. But like at some point, like, 12, 13, 14-year-olds who go, shopping on their own, or I don't know. I just feel like that they don't have their parents there to be like, don't look at boobs.
Let me ask you this then. And here's my second question before I get into kind of some of the examples that I wanted us to talk about. For either of you, is there a line that shouldn't be crossed? Like, let's take it away from, genitalia or whatever. Like, is there maybe a picture you can think of that should not be allowed on an album cover? And let me give you an example. Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses. Everyone knows that album cover was switched. The original cover was a painting by an artist named Robert Williams that was called Appetite for Destruction. The name of the painting was Appetite for Destruction. And
coincidence or on purpose?
No, it was Axl Rose saw the painting and liked it, and then that's where he got the name for the album from this. So they were, that was the thing. And what's interesting is if you think about that cover, that album sounds like that cover looks like it. That's the original cover, which is, it's got a violence against women. It's animated and whatnot. I mean, you can Google Appetite for Destruction original cover and it'll come up easily. But here's the thing, though. That's not even what I'm talking about as an example. A lot of people don't even know this. When people say the Appetite for Destruction original cover, they think of the one with the painting on it that got changed to the cross. That wasn't what Guns N' Roses wanted for the cover of the record. They originally wanted a picture of the Challenger exploding, and it just would say, well, I don't even know what the album would have been called at that point, but let's say it was self-titled. It was just a picture of the Challenger exploding. So, like, do you find that offensive? Like, the album has nothing to do lyrically with anything to do with the space program. You're literally putting a picture of 7 people dying on the cover just for shock value. What do you guys think about that?
I feel like there's a fine line. I feel like definitely nothing on record or on anything that is in the general public should be promoting violence or hate.
Sure.
And that was so like, I don't know, nothing to do with, like the KKK, like that should not be a thing on an album cover.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's more like just because we don't need any more of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like we get it enough from everywhere. Like you don't need to, that it's not edgy anymore to do that.
For me, the objection I would have about the Appetite cover being that, like if it was the Challenger exploding, is just from an artistic standpoint. Like you're literally doing that cover to get people to talk about the record.
Yeah, for shock value.
Yeah. So Kyle, what do you think? Because, you were very strong that things shouldn't be changed. Like, what do you think about that? Let's say Appetite for Destruction, Here Now Today, that was the cover on it. Like, how would you have a feeling on it one way or the other?
I just don't think that art should be censored no matter, Pantera is famous for doing it too. A lot of their album covers show violence on them,
mm-hmm.
and it's some for shock value and some to go along with the type of music that they're making.
Sure,
but you should not have to change it's almost comedians use it all the time. Where like they shouldn't have to change their jokes because they're going to offend somebody.
Sure.
Because that's the whole point of comedy.
Right.
I agree.
Is to be able to make fun of people, make fun of everybody. We'll do whatever, and people censor that, and then it becomes not the same kind of comedy that it was before.
I totally get what you're saying, and I'm with you on that. But I don't think when it's for shock value, so that people just talk about it and it has nothing to do with the record, like. The Challenger exploding has nothing to do with the record. If there was a song about the Challenger exploding on the record, then that would be like something I could, at least justify, that is, I don't want to censor your art, like, because it is directly related. But just to have shock value for shock value's sake, I don't believe in. Like, I didn't
have Pantera on here, although I do know of some examples from them. And Michelle, I can give you a direct comparison for Pantera. So based on what Kyle mentioned, so Pantera has one of their most famous records is called "Vulgar Display of Power," and it's the famous cover of the guy punching the other guy like real hard, like you can tell it's a real punch, right? That picture evokes the theme of that record. Vulgar display of power, right? And that's what that record is about. It's a very political record. It's very, but then they have the record after it was called Far Beyond Driven. And the original version of it was a drill going up the rear end of someone. And
I'm looking at it right now, actually.
Of what? Far Beyond Driven. And then, and then it was changed to a drill going in a forehead instead. So to me, vulgar display of power is fine because although it's violence on the cover, it's evocative of what's in the album. Whereas Far Beyond Driven, to me, they were like, well, what if we just do this just for shock value?
Yeah. I was thinking about that when you were saying like it was somebody punching someone else, and I was like, well, that's not really violence, which it totally is, but we've just been so desensitized. We're just like, it's fine. Like punching is fine, but like, get out the guns, or, what is it on the Appetite for Destruction, the original, isn't there like simulated robot rape or something? Yeah.
Well, it's a painting, and there's a woman on the ground who very much looks as if she's just been sexually assaulted. And then there's a robot there that's kind of made up of guns. And then there's a big like beast coming over the top. So it's open to interpretation if the robot has done this or the beast has done this, or if someone else has, and these two are, trying to stop it. Again, it's a Robert Williams painting with that title, but yeah, that's what's on the cover.
So also I feel like if I were to see the art, because I'm looking at it right now, I just pulled that cover up too. So like if I were to see that art hanging in a gallery of that artist's paintings, I wouldn't be so offended, which I don't know why I think that. Maybe it's because like I don't know. I guess maybe it's because I paid to go see an artist's work, and that's if I know what I'm getting myself into. But like to have Guns N' Roses have that on the cover of their album, and if you weren't expecting it, I don't know. I don't know.
So here's an example, Michelle. Marilyn Manson put out an album called Hollywood, and on the cover of that album, which was censored at CD stores or whatever, which they just put a slipcover over it, and that's how you had to buy it. But it's a painting. Okay. It's a painting of him crucified, like representing Jesus essentially. But it's visibly him, and he's like all like decrepit looking and whatnot. So that very much goes along with the title of the album, and it also is obviously, because it's Marilyn Manson, probably there for shock value as well.
But I don't think that. I mean, if I'm going against my own personal standards, like it's not promoting hate. Like I don't think he's anti-Jesus. It's not like I guess that's not even hate. Actually, he's not saying that people who believe in Jesus are wrong, And it's violence against himself, which is not even real. Like I don't know. It's a hard one.
Yeah, I've got some more of this at the tail end of the episode for us to circle back to. So. By all means, you guys.
So what you're saying is shut up?
No, I just mean, keep thinking about it. What's funny is some of the examples that I have to round out the first half of the episode here are so tame compared to what we've been talking to. Like the first two examples that I can think of censored album covers are the Rolling Stones' Beggar's Banquet and the Mamas and the Papas, and I can't think of the name of the album, but there's a Mamas and the Papas record where it's the four of them in a bathtub. And
it's If You Can Believe Your Eyes and Ears.
Okay. And so that record was censored because of the toilet in the bathroom. Like it wasn't that it was the four of them laying on each other or in a bathtub or anything. It was that people were outraged that the toilet was in the picture. So they reissued the
dirty?
record. Yeah. So, and then, and that's the other one is Rolling Stones' Beggar's Banquet. Absolutely was a nasty, filthy, probably New York City bathroom, like a club bathroom or something. And there's a super dirty toilet. And people were outraged about the toilet. So they pulled that and they reissued it with just a white cover and cursive writing. So they went super nice with it.
Yeah.
But that's two of the first ones that I can think of. And then the other ones I can think of were 80s examples. Like Roger Waters had The Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking, had a cartoon drawing of a woman hitchhiking naked from the back, so you could see her bare butt, and they reissued that with just a black bar over it. And then Poison had a ridiculous one. To this day, I think it's ridiculous. Their second album, Open Up and Say Ah, had a woman that was kind of dressed up in cat paint, and she had a really long tongue coming out, but it was just her. Again, if you Google Poison Open Up and Say Ah, you'll see it. And then they letterboxed it. They reissued it censored, where it had black bars on the top and bottom, so you could only see the woman's eyes. But I just don't understand those examples. Why
the Poison one is the one that makes the least amount of sense to me. She's not satanic, not that would make it okay, but there's no nudity, there's no violence, it's just a woman dressed like a cat. I don't know.
I do not understand the whole toilet thing. Why were we as Americans so offended by toilets at one point?
Right, and that's what I was going to say. Is it kills me? It's there's so much, well, it was a different time. When you look at certain things, you can go, oh, well, it was a different time, and people were more Lucy and Ricky on the I Love Lucy show, sleeping in separate beds. Oh, it was a different time. That's how they showed married people on TV or whatever. But these examples, I'm but toilets though.
Everyone uses a toilet.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there was some sort of advocate group trying to get people to believe that not everyone uses the toilet. I don't know. So
it was the bidet people trying to get you to.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly what it was. So,
I don't know where we're going with this, but I was going to say the most shocking one to me when I was researching this was the Beatles one, because I literally had no idea this even existed. Not that I'm a Beatles aficionado,
yep.
But
hold your thought on that.
I was
hold your thought on that, because we're going to take a quick break, and that's what we're kicking the second half off of the show with.
We're just kidding.
No, that's fine. It's a good teaser. So the Beatles yesterday and today is the one that we're going to talk about. When we come back in just a few minutes, we'll let our ad play, and then we'll be right back with you guys. All right, we're back. It's the second half of the 14th episode of the Infectious Groove podcast, talking about album art, censored, why not, what is offensive, what isn't. And right before we went to break, Michelle brought up the exact one that I had up next for the discussion, which was the Beatles Yesterday and Today record. What are your thoughts on the original cover, Michelle? Because obviously the censored version is nothing to be upset about at all. It's just the Beatles sitting on a trunk. But what do you think about the original cover? Oh, okay. So you never even heard about the other one until we looked into this? So
this was shocking to me when I was researching this. Well, to anybody who doesn't know, the Yesterday and Today original album art has the Beatles with slabs of meat and baby doll parts strewn about on them.
Headless baby dolls, to be specific.
Well, the heads are there. Yeah. They're just not attached.
So headless.
They this was a thing, to my knowledge, that they sold this record like this in the UK. This was just a thing that they released, and then they released it in the United States, and they sold 750,000 copies before it got pulled. And then they were like, just kidding, we're going to replace that. So they said that they had to do a recall, which I don't even know, I'm assuming that's recalling for them from the
retailers that had it, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like if you bought it, you have to send it back in.
No. But that's the two of the rarest Beatles records that you can get is, first of all, the original cover on its own. The second is when they so the ones that they got sent back from record labels, they are from record stores. They didn't even reprint the covers. They just put a giant sticker over it. So
that says what?
It's the new cover, the Beatles just sitting on the trunk, but it's a giant sticker, and you can still see the other picture under it. And then they resend them back out to stores, and then from the second pressing on, it's a new print of the cover with the Beatles sitting on the thing. So, and actually, for those that are local, Meltdown from WRAF, he owns one of the sticker cover ones, one of the ones that was original pressing that was sent back, that has the sticker on it and came back. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, it ended up being a really rare Beatles record. because of that. But what is your thought on that cover? And Kyle, have you seen the cover, the one we're talking about with the Beatles?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, let's start with you, Kyle. Me personally, I'm going to be honest, I don't find anything wrong with the original cover.
You would be hard pressed to find something that's going to be on album cover or a movie poster or in a movie or anything that's going to offend me outright. Like, I just don't. Art is art. I don't get offended by that kind of shit. It doesn't bother me.
My thing with this is like, they're not like pulling the heads off the dolls or anything. Like, you know, I mean, it's not like the Beatles. It looks like they're like, you know, doing something bad. Like, Michelle, I get the impression that you're at least slightly offended by the original cover.
No.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe that's what you're saying. So you don't care at all.
No, absolutely not. I'm 0% offended by the original cover. It was shocking to me to see the Beatles do that. Like, when I think of the Beatles as a whole, like, I know it wasn't their entire career, but I think of, you know, the boy band, the Ed Sullivan Show.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you think a bunch of parents were like, see, the Rolling Stones put a toilet on the cover and now we're here?
Or they were really mad at that rock music, or what did they call it? Was it rock?
Yeah, rock and roll.
Yeah, rock and roll. They read that rock and roll, and they're like, this is what it leads to dead baby dolls and bra meat.
Yeah.
I don't know what the original, how this relates to the album or what they were trying to accomplish with this album art. I didn't really look into that too much, which I would be kind of interested to know.
From what I read,
it does not offend me.
By all means, look into it further. But from what I read, it was just stuff that was around, like those baby doll parts were just around.
So much better.
Yeah, so it wasn't even, you know, it wasn't even like, you know, it wasn't like, and we'll get into this later. Kyle's going to talk about Kanye. Like, it wasn't like a thought out thing, like, and get us some baby dolls with this so we can pull the heads off. And, you know, it was just,
here's your dinner.
Yeah, they were just around. So, but anyways, one of the other ones that I want to talk about is, because the band is so near and dear to my heart, and I love the band and I love this album, is the Black Crowes' third album, Amorica. And the cover of Amorica was originally a cover to a Hustler magazine from 1776 or 1976. It was their bicentennial. It was their bicentennial. It was the bicentennial issue where Hustler, of course, would be the number one resource for people to celebrate the bicentennial. You know, so that's what was there. So the picture though was just the midsection of a woman, and she was wearing a bikini that was an American flag. And the thing that, you know, in again, what we talked about earlier, when that was on stands in 1976, it was, you know, probably covered. More than likely, all anybody could see is the Hustler word at the top, and they couldn't see anything below it. When the Black Crowes issued Amorica, they used just the center of the very center of the picture. So the bikini is there, the American flag bikini, and then there's hair over the top of the bikini. And that was the thing that everybody was outraged by. Like, everybody has
pubic hair.
Yeah, well, people lost their minds about this. Now, what's interesting about this, though, is this record got completely recalled and completely reissued, where everything is blacked out except for the American flag triangle in the middle. So it's a completely black background with the American flag in the middle in a triangle, and that's it. But to me, going by what we said earlier, wouldn't that be a situation where you just, what we talked about, like, just put it behind the counter or put it in a paper bag or something? Like, I don't understand why that cover has to be altered.
Also, I wanted to back up. Are we sure it's a woman?
Yes.
I'm just saying, I've seen it and I'm not convinced.
Okay. Yeah, it's a woman.
The body looks a little masculine to me, but yeah.
What's interesting is I can see it from here. I'm looking all the way across the 33 right now. I have the full page ad for Amorica for, you know, like when it was coming out, and it's got the original version of the cover.
Does it have boobs on top? Because then that'll solve our.
No, but I believe the young lady was featured in the Hustler issue. So if you'd like to look that up, you can take a look for it in there. So
her and that bush.
Anyways, that's just an example of one that I just don't understand why it was censored at all. So Kyle, I'm going to move it over to you because you have an example you want to talk about that involves your favorite subject, from what I can tell, which is Walmart being involved in censorship.
Yeah, Walmart and Kmart both refused to carry In Utero. They originally said it was because the song Rape Me was on there and they wanted it to be changed to something else, but it came out later on that it was actually the title of the album that they were offended by. Either way,
which is ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous. Nirvana changed on the back CD insert Rape Me to Waif Me, did not change the song at all on the CD.
Yeah,
and
they went ahead and made up a word.
And Kmart, Walmart and Kmart then agreed, okay, fine, sounds good, we'll sell it.
And the most ridiculous part of that whole story for me, and I'll never not rage about this, every time I put on In Utero is just that the song itself was, the offending article wasn't changed in any way. Just the title was on the back. So if you, by Walmart standard, as long as a child doesn't see the word rape, they can hear the word rape.
Yeah.
Also, I have a question about that. I know we talked about this before, but were they doing alternate cuts for like the radio at that time? Like we were Kyle and I were talking about that in the car today. What were we listening to? Oh, The Weeknd. He says bitch in the actual song, and then on the radio he says chick. And he was like, can you imagine like recording two different songs?
Yeah.
Like just
I don't
to do the radio.
think
Was that a thing back then?
it was, because the example I always go to is Nothing But a G Thing by Dr. Dre. I've talked about it on the show before. There were entire different verses cut for Nothing But a G Thing to be on the radio. 90, whenever the Chronic came out, 91, 92 maybe.
I think you were like 90 whatever.
Yeah. And in Utero came out in 93. I think it might have been, whatever. Anyways, they're very close to each other, but I don't believe a lot of rock songs changed, did that, re-recorded things. And what I can think of a Pink Floyd example off the top of my head, but it's a very little known song that most people wouldn't even know, but they changed the lyrics for the single. But I don't think Nirvana did that. And I mean, Rape Me, what's funny is Rape Me gets played on the radio still, but it wasn't even officially, it wasn't even officially a single off the record, but it still gets played on the radio. So, but it is what it is with that example. It's Walmart being Walmart. It makes no sense. So one example I wanted to mention, which the band did themselves, and you talk about just an unfortunate way for something to go down. The band Dream Theater had a live album come out that came out on September 11th, 2001. Like it was actually released that day, and it was recorded in New York. The live album is called Dream Theater Live Scenes from New York. So this record comes out to record stores, whatever time they open, 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. The unfortunate events of 9/11 are happening, and the cover of that live album is the New York skyline on fire.
Oh my God.
Which people use, people say, you hear me say that all the time. Oh, we went and saw that band and they were on fire. You know what I mean? So it's just them being like, oh, we were super proud. This was recorded in New York. And right there in the center of the skyline is the World Trade Center. And there's huge flames, above the whole thing. So Dream Theater recalled that themselves, the record themselves, and they just reissued it with their band symbol where the skyline was instead. So that's not even remotely censorship. It's just a good thing they did what a crazy coincidence to have happen to your band,
Is that a little bit of a conspiracy theory right there? Like, did they see that coming? I'm just kidding.
Sure hope not. For more information on that, you can go to Michelle's personal YouTube page where she has her videos.
I'm like Creed on The Office. You guys set up a blog for me,
right? Yeah.
It's a Word document.
It's a Word document. Whatever, www.creedthoughts.org or whatever.
.org. That also reminded me of, which it's not really censorship for cover art, but the Jimmy Eat World record came out in July of 2001, and it was called Bleed American, and they changed it. I don't know.
I think it's just self-titled now. I think it is,
but I don't know if they chose to change it or if it was a record label decision.
That was done quietly too. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like there wasn't like a bunch of articles they weren't talking about in the news. To me, if I were to guess, I would say that was probably a band decision, because if it was a record label or Walmart or whatever, there would have been a big hullabaloo, if you will, about it.
But there's still a song on the record called Bleed American. They just did not call the album that anymore.
Yeah, and again, the same thing with Dream Theater. There was absolutely no ill will meant. This record came out months before this happened, and it's just an unfortunate timing is all. Kyle, I know you had a couple of other examples. One you said had to do with Kanye picking something out on purpose, which who knew Kanye would try and be offensive on purpose. But you also had an example of Master P that you told us a little bit about during the break. What's the deal with that?
So if anyone is familiar with the old No Limit, Master P, Mystical, Silk the Shocker, all those guys.
Some of the most visually appealing cover art of all time, I think. Yeah,
so that's what I was going to say, is they have like those classic really, really bad album covers, but like it became like iconic to that style of music.
Total side note, I kid you not, that's because I wasn't really following rap that closely in the late 90s. That's how I learned that Snoop went to No Limit. Was I saw a Snoop record that he did on No Limit, and the cover was so like just atrocious that I was like, oh man, Snoop went to No Limit. That's literally how I learned it. But anyways, I'm sorry, you were talking about the Master P that was censored.
Yeah, so the album that everyone knows as Ghetto D, which features the one that everyone was able to purchase, has that really famously bad album artwork on it. The original artwork that he came up with was called Ghetto Dope, the album, and then it had a dude on the cover smoking crack out of a crack pipe.
As you do.
And it was like literally like a cutout of a guy, like, copy and pasted, smoking crack out of a crack pipe. But I read that he himself, because they were independent at the time, he didn't really have anyone to tell him what to do. He made the business decision to make it more appealing to a wider audience by not putting that on the cover.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that they created the whole shitstorm of all of those famously bad album artwork covers. So.
Right. Yeah, well, it was the way they were known. Like I say, I walked into a store and saw a different artist and knew what label he was on just by the cover, And then what was it you were telling us about Kanye? Was it My Dark, Twisted, Beautiful Fantasy? I forget the name of the album.
My Beautiful, Dark, Twisted Fantasy.
Right. What was the story behind that?
So the original artwork, the artwork that he tried to put on it, he apparently had asked for something offensive. But so that artwork, to me, it goes along with the title of the album, and it's a picture of a dude laying on a bed and like this devilish naked. It's a painting. Like a non-realistic painting, and this devilish like woman like on top of him, kind of. And to me, that could be someone's beautiful, dark, twisted fantasy.
Sure.
So it goes along with it, but ultimately it was censored, and he changed it to a picture of a ballerina.
Did he? So I don't know. I'm not a Kanye fan, and by any means. He's just there for me, kind of. So I'm not trying. But did he ask for art that was going to be provocative and shocking, or did he ask for art that was going to be that would go along with what he was going with, like the title of the song, and that would also do that? Like, I don't know if he just went out there and was like, give me something crazy, or if he was like, here's my album, this is what it's about, give me something crazy along those lines.
I did. So that the painting, the original painting, is by George Condo, and he supposedly that painting is supposed to be of Kanye West. The black guy in the picture represents Kanye West, and then the white lady, with the weird angel wings and the tail or whatever, representing like his beautiful, dark, twisted fantasy. But
so it was made for that album.
Yeah, I did also read that he asked for something that would cause controversy. So
okay, but so it was created for that album by an artist that he was like, this is what my album concept is, create me some artwork that is like this and also possibly be shocking.
And then a bunch of whatever retailers refused to accept it, so he changed it to I think the painting that was put on it that ended up being accepted is also a painting by the same guy. I'm not positive about that, but the artwork looks similar, and it's just a painting of a ballerina.
So what's funny is I really didn't know too much about this cover art situation and whatnot. When you explain it the way you did, Kyle, like, I get it. It's less of Kanye just being like, I'm going to be shocking, and more of like, I get more of what he wanted to do with the cover. But just so I know, because I don't know this, and not to put you on the spot, but was the original ever released, Kyle, or did it only come out with the alternate version?
So I own the special edition version of that album, and I believe the cover on it has the original painting. But
it wasn't originally issued with the painting on it?
I don't think so. I think in order for it to be sold in the stores, it had to be changed.
It's so funny because in looking at this list, like the Rolling Stones and the Black Crowes and whatnot, so many of these records have been reissued on vinyl, and the original cover art is intact anyways. Like Appetite for Destruction, when it got reissued on vinyl not that long ago, it has the original cover art on it, so it's like that was super outrageous back then. So I was just curious about that with Kanye. So as far as examples and whatnot and things I wanted to talk about, I'm going to close out with one of my favorite examples ever. This might be my all-time favorite example. And then I've got a couple of last questions to wrap up this topic with you guys. Jane's Addiction put out a record called Nothing Shocking. And on the cover of the record is a very shocking picture. It's two conjoined twins who are completely naked, two females sitting in a chair, and both of their hair is on fire. And I think it's a black and white photo. So record labels, needless to say, were very outraged by the cover of Nothing Shocking. So they pulled it off the shelf, but it didn't even get reissued. What happened with that record was what we talked about. The stores that were outraged just displayed it in a brown paper bag. Like they didn't even reissue it. So you have two fully naked females on the cover of an album with their hair on fire, and that didn't even get pulled. It got put in a brown paper bag. Like, it didn't get reissued or anything. But the album after that is the one that I focus on because it's my favorite example. So when they came up to the record after that, which was Ritual de lo Habitual, Perry Farrell had done a piece of art of himself with two women. Like, it's a painting of him with two women, and record stores were pretty outraged about it. Like, before it even got to the record shelves, everybody was pretty outraged about it. So when they issued the record, they issued it with an all white cover with just the First Amendment and black print.
That's great.
Yeah, have you ever seen that, Kyle?
Yeah, I fully love when the artist rebels against that kind of shit, or and it's like the ultimate, fuck you to everybody.
Yeah,
this did come up when I was researching this as well, and my favorite part of the story, and I don't know, like you read, that it was a photograph of a diorama that the lead singer had made. So he put this together, and I just picture it, when you were in the third grade and you made a diorama of dinosaurs.
Right.
I just imagine him in a shoebox making this, and I can get down with that. This has something to do, he made this and he created this art for this album that he wrote, right?
Mm-hmm.
He wrote it.
Yep.
So that is art to me, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
I don't agree with censoring that one.
I just love that it was censored, but that they just gave up and did a full white cover with just the First Amendment printed
and that's great.
On the cover, which I think is great. And again, that's another example of that record has recently been reissued on vinyl in a number of formats, and the original cover is just there. It's not in a slipcase or anything. It's just, but this was, was something we could not abide back then, was this piece of art. So
to correct myself about the Kanye West thing, the one that I have actually, I think, does have the ballerina on the outside of it.
Gotcha.
But on the inside, in the the booklet that comes in there, it has the original artwork. It's just not on the outside. And I do believe at some point there was possibly Kanye West might have went off on a tangent and then released some of them with a pixelated version of the original artwork.
Oh, I do remember that.
Gotcha.
I can vividly see that.
Tell what it was, yeah.
Yeah.
I can
vividly see that.
Is that stored in your special edition collection along with the 2 CD version of the Titanic soundtrack, Kyle?
Yeah, actually it is right next to it.
Good.
So if you were to look up the cover art for my Dark Twisted Fantasy, or my Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy Deluxe Edition on Apple Music, it shows a pixelated version of the original cover artwork.
Gotcha.
That's weird.
So I think both exist out there in the universe.
Gotcha. Well, that's cool. Here's my last question for you guys on this topic, and it brings it up to today, like Kyle just mentioned, Apple Music and so on. So we said so many times through this before, well, if it's offensive to someone, then they should display it this way or that way or whatever else. So what do you guys think about, for example, these things just show up on people's devices, right? So what about a kid now who, if they search for Appetite for Destruction or Amorica or the Jane's Addiction records, what do you think about that? A child just getting in their account and that's what comes up. So we're not talking about making sure that the account plays just clean songs. The cover art's just going to show up. Kyle, what do you think about that?
I'm torn between having a kid and not wanting him to see that, and I'm also torn between wanting an artist to express themselves however they should be able to. And things like Apple Music and Spotify and any of those kind of services wouldn't exist without an artist. So
right, yeah,
they should be able to, and especially if it ties into what the album is about, like the Kanye West example. That painting is to represent what the album is entirely about. Mm-hmm. He should be able to put that on the cover.
Yeah. In many ways, to me, it's that album, the way you're describing it, sounds exactly like the Appetite for Destruction situation. Axl didn't pick that painting out to be controversial. He picked out that painting because that painting is what the album sounds like. It's a perfect image for the audio on that record. Michelle, what do you think about it as far as kids having easy access to these images?
I'm completely torn. I don't think you should censor art, but like I said, I feel like there's a fine line where it's not art anymore. You're promoting hate or violence against somebody, and I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
But none of the things that we had talked about here, I don't know. It's hard because I don't think that children should have access to these images, but also as an adult, I should. So how do you just make alternate artwork for streaming, and then the vinyls or whoever, once you're old enough to be able to purchase a record on your own, you can go and get it. How many people do you think actually buy CDs or vinyl from Best Buy?
Oh,
not very many.
Little. Yeah, in store pick up a mass retailer, very little.
So the exposure is way less now. But then
physically it is,
so
yes,
hard.
but it's way worse because it's on everybody's phone.
Yeah.
I do know that, like, if you were to watch what YouTube would consider an explicit video on their platform, if you're not logged into your account, which verifies that, you're a certain age or whatever, a little window will pop up and say, this contains explicit content. Are you of age or whatever? And you click yes or no, and then then you have to log into your account to watch it.
Sure. And I think, there's no perfect answer to this, but I think one answer to this is what we talked about heavily during the episode about the PMRC and overall censorship of music and whatnot is talk to your kids, like have a discussion with them as to the hows and whys of those images. It's going to vary depending on the kid's age. So that's not, approach with everybody. Like I say, it's not a perfect example, but for me, like my son is 14. If he's going to look at an image like that, like I'm going to have a talk with him as to the hows and whys of that. Like I would have no problem with my son seeing the cover of Appetite for Destruction so long as he's of the age where I can explain to him the hows and whys behind that image.
I absolutely agree with that. If the kid is a certain age, like obviously your son's way older than my son, so I wouldn't want to have a burning cross with a bunch of KKK guys on the front of an album cover, and my 7-year-old see that, and then I have to explain to him why hooded people are burning a cross on an album cover. What that is. I don't want him to have to. A 7-year-old shouldn't need to know anything about any of that.
Sure.
In general.
Well, let's leave that out there for the crowd. Listeners, we always try and leave you with something to interact with us about. And why not that? Like, get on our Facebook page, Twitter, and even leave some comments on Instagram and let us know what you think on that specifically. Out of everything we talked about with cover art, how do you feel about children possibly having the ability to have these album covers right in the palm of their hand? And, you maybe not even having the chance to make sure they don't see it.
Yeah. I agree. Tell us what you think. I'm very torn. So I would be really interested to hear.
She could be easily swayed. Hashtag tell Michelle what to do in this instance.
See, I don't. Yeah. So I don't feel like I'm easily swayed. Like I'm like, there's a lot of things where I'm like,
no,
it's fine.
I know. I'm saying on this particular topic, you're in the middle.
No, I'm saying on this particular topic, like it's all about who is looking at it,
Sure.
And if you have to know the meaning behind the Jane's Addiction, the diorama, and you get that deep into it, like a child doesn't know that.
Right.
So I guess it's very hard for me as an adult. I feel like you should not censor art and it should be fine. But when you take everything else into consideration, I don't know. It's a very fine line.
Sure.
I have one more thing I would like to say. If anybody is interested in researching this more or looking up these albums in one place, there is a Rolling Stone article that's what I referenced when I went through this to
I looked at the same article.
Yes, so that's where I got all my information. But if you just Google 20 wildest censored album covers, the Rolling Stone article will come up, and you can look at pretty much all of them that we talked about and read a brief description. So in case you wanted to know. So I just head there.
Cool. Well, that's a definitely good reference point. What were you going to say, Kyle?
I would really like to know what people think too, because the artist in me is like, no one's going to ever tell me how to express myself. I find that automatically comes up when I even hear the word censorship.
Right. Yeah.
But at the same token,
and then the dad side of you. Yeah.
Yep. But the dad side kicks in. It's like, well, would you really want your kid looking at this picture you took of a naked chick? Probably not.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's where we're going to leave it, leaving it wide open for the audience on that specific topic. Like, what do you think about, kids having open access to this stuff, and maybe take some screenshots of what you see on, maybe there's some stuff on there that you didn't even know about. And so let us know what you think, how you would approach it with your kids, or what is actually out there that you wouldn't want them to see. So once again, we always thank everybody for taking the time to listen to the show. We greatly appreciate the support. Again, just want to ask if everybody, who is enjoying the show, if you would please give us some mentions on Facebook or Twitter. That would be a big, huge help for us. Not just sharing the show's posts, but actually creating your own post saying, hey, I'm listening to this. It would help us grow. We greatly appreciate that. When we reconvene for next week's full episode, we are going to talk about copyright laws, sharing music, and so on, a subject that's extremely close to my heart. We'll get into why next week, and it's really a broad topic, should make for some lively commentary. As Michelle referenced earlier, we did start our extra episodes just last week, so going forward for at least the next 16 weeks, next 15 weeks, you're going to get one episode on Monday and another one on Friday. The one on Friday is an album tournament. If you haven't listened to that yet, check it out. It's those are designed to be shorter, extra type episodes. The one coming up this week that you guys are going to hear next Friday is going to be quite the battle. It's going to be Eminem, Music to be Murdered By versus Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction, which was heavily featured on this episode. So once again, as always, we greatly appreciate you guys listening. Without music, life would be a mistake. Thanks for your time. See you guys later.
Bye.